Alright, so welcome. We're back again for another video. Today we're going to be, I'll take you guys through my back day. We got these new person grips. I don't know if you guys have seen them, so I figured I would give them out, give them a try. One thing to note, I guess, when you're going to order them, if you are going to order them off Amazon, it would be to definitely measure your wrist the right way, because my wrist is small and regulars were a regular and a large put together. So what I'm basically going to do, we're going to review these, see how well they work for this back day, and yeah, let's go ahead, let's get to it. Alrighty, for the warm-up here, we've got some lat band pulls. I always try and use these, and the next one, I call them like around the worlds, if you want to call them that. You know, basically just bring the band up and over my head and constantly keeping tension through my back. The reason I do this is because it kind of gets blood pumping, gets blood flowing back there, and really gets me warmed up for my back day. Next up is an underhand lat pull down. I try to bring my elbow and keep it as close to my body as I can and bring it all the way down and squeeze right at the bottom. Next up is kind of like a special superset kind of deal. It's like a half deadlift, half pause deadlift with a rack pull at the top. So basically going down below my knees, kind of pausing for half a second, and then pulling back up to the top and squeezing through my back. Basically like puffing my chest out as far as I can get it and feeling that squeeze in my back at the top. So I will say so far, they're pretty great actually. I like when I'm doing like more of a pulling exercise as opposed to like a, I would say more of like a row or something with like a cable attachment, or even on like the machine, the first exercise we did on that machine. I like them when they're cupped in my hand like this. But if I'm doing an exercise like a deadlift or a rack pull or something, which is what I just showed you guys, I really like them where they're wrapped around the bar in a sense, because it takes the pressure off of my forearm and puts it more on kind of on my wrist and allows me to have a better grip whenever I'm doing it. So I can focus way more on pulling through with my back. So like I'm not using like the other muscles to try and get the weight up. I'm strictly trying to focus on my back, and these help a lot with that. So if you want to pick yourself up a pair, kind of expensive, like 50-something bucks for these, but they're worth it. They're active wrist wraps, you know, on top of being, you know, some good grips for some bars. So in this exercise, we're focusing on the middle portion of our back here. What I'm trying to do is go through the full range of motion without swinging these weights. So I'm keeping it very controlled, nice and tight, keeping my elbows in, and really focus on contracting the muscles in the middle portion of my back and really feeling that squeeze right there at the top. Next up is another type of row superset. So right here I've got one foot on the bench. I'm trying to do some close grip lat pull downs here, and then I'll switch it up and go straight into like I don't know what to call this one. It's basically kind of like a seated row, but an inverted seated row, if that makes sense. So I'm basically puffing my chest out and really pulling through my back here, and the burn is absolutely insane off of this superset. So this exercise is honestly one of my favorites for my back, especially at doing it 4 sets at 8 reps. What I'm trying to do here is focus on controlling the weight as it goes back to the top. So as you can see, like on some of them, I'm not really swinging the weight. I'm trying to control it as it goes to the top, and I'm holding it at the bottom, kind of keeping it paused and really trying to control the weight as it rises back up. And finally, to end it all off, is a low cable row. Now this one I did it standing, and I was really trying to focus on bringing
that rope more towards my waist and kind of my abdomen area to really focus on that lower back.
Alrighty, so we're back home. Back workout is done. Just kind of a small thing for you guys, kind of emphasizing on some back building exercises that I learned, some techniques. So, you know, hopefully you guys are enjoying it. The voiceovers do well. I didn't think I would end up liking the voiceovers, but after making the first one the other day, I enjoy it. It's not too bad. You know, it's pretty easy to do it in that gym because literally like no one is there half the time, so it's not too bad. Well, what the real question is for today's video is straps, strap-ons, strappies, wrist wraps, whatever they are they worth it? These ones, I would say, are they worth it? Yes and no. I have developed this false grip that I can use really well, basically only holding on with like my fingertips, so basically kind of making like a bear paw, like a bear claw or whatever. You don't wrap your thumb in a false grip. You actually have it over the top basically, so it's like this. If you see at the bars like right here, you kind of have a false grip like that. Instead of putting your thumb around it, you put it over top of it. So like with my lat pull downs, I always do that. But with these help a lot in the sense that, you know, I can grip the bar and whatever I'm using a lot better. I noticed it no matter how much I really rotated my wrist on different exercises like the lat pull downs. I didn't end up using these very much, just because when I do my lat pull downs, I've kind of developed that false grip really well. But on stuff like the underhand rows that we were doing, the underhand lat pull downs that we were doing on the machine, it was really beneficial to use these because I had a lot of grip. I could really just focus on pulling through my back and using the muscles in my back to actually pull the weight down and kind of arch my back as I was going through with my pull downs. So were they beneficial? Yes, especially as well as during the rack pulls, rack lifts, whatever you want to call them. It's like basically a pause deadlift at the same time that when you reach the top, you kind of, you know, poke your chest out and squeeze with your back. So it was beneficial with that, especially when I started going up in weight. I think I put a 25 on after the 45 and it helped a lot with those rack pulls. Are they crucial? I mean, they kind of have the same effect as chalk, except chalk doesn't get everywhere. The one thing I will say about these as far as basically being a 2-for-1, so basically what you have is you have your grippy part here that, you know, grips onto whatever you're hanging on to do your exercises. These are mainly for back day, but if you want to use them as wrist straps, you can. You can actually like turn them around and put these on like your back, the back side of your hand if you just want to use them as wrist straps, or if you want extra grip, you can easily just do it with the cupping method here, where you can put the barbell or the dumbbell or whatever in here and wrap your wrist with these. It's definitely beneficial because it helps with if you're doing heavy weight like shoulder presses or bench presses, or the dumbbell bench. If you guys will agree with that, it really helps because it'll add some extra support with your wrist. If you do have weak wrists, or if your wrists start to hurt kind of like mine do whenever I'm doing really heavy movements, like when I'm benching 225, my wrists really do start to hurt when it comes to that. So I might start using these as much as I can, or I might just buy some dedicated wrist wraps. But as far as like a 2-for-1, if you don't want to end up buying wrist wraps, these would definitely be beneficial for you guys. Now they're $50. I have these in a size small and they fit my wrist pretty well. I wouldn't say my wrist is huge, but I wouldn't say the regulars or the largest would be for me, because like I explained earlier, those were just too big. Like if you see where it goes, like obviously it goes through the loop here, and then it cinches up and comes over top. Where it was starting to Velcro here, it was like literally all the way across. Like it was almost like that far off. So that was just not, and obviously you can see the hole, that's not gonna fit my wrist whatsoever. So these small ones fit really well. They're kind of adjustable. The one downside to them is if you wear them for a long time and you're really pulling a lot of weight, it does start to hurt your wrist a little bit just because of the tension on it. So if I had a recommendation, I would unstrap them and pull them apart every time to give your wrist a little bit of time to breathe. I didn't do that, and that was kind of on me, because as soon as I just started taking them off and in between sets, it was like a lot easier and a lot more bearable for my wrist, because as soon as I took them off, like the tension was released. I hear sirens.
those just went by my house. But as soon as I like unstrapped them and pulled them apart a little bit, my wrist didn't start hurting as bad. But the more I wore them, and I kind of kept them pretty tight, so that's kind of on me that I kept them really tight and I didn't unstrap them whenever I was done. But that would be my one piece of advice, is if you were gonna get these and you're gonna do lifting, if you're gonna lift with these, you know, whether it be deadlift or, you know, whatever exercise you're gonna be using these for, lat pull downs, underhand rows, underhand rows, you know, close grip rows, close grip lat pull downs, anything like that, I would definitely unstrap them once you're done doing that exercise, because it will definitely get tedious and your wrists will start to hurt, and plus it like gets in the way. So these little flaps, as much as they are helpful, I tried to use my phone and I'm like trying to adjust my hand and I'm like trying to like move my hand and stuff, trying to use my phone and stuff. It just wasn't working at all. So I was like, all right, I just need to like either figure out a way to twist these around, and I was doing a lot of that, twisting them around too, putting them on the back side of my hand so I could actually use my phone really quickly or change the song or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. It was a lot of fun to review a different product. I've got other reviews coming. I got a new pair of lifting shoes that I want to review with you guys. I've got some bicep straps. I can't remember what they called them. I'd have to look up the specific name on Amazon where I got them from. But a buddy of mine had them. I used them one day. They were pretty freaking sweet. Bradley Martin has used them before and kind of advises training with them if you want to grow your biceps and your triceps. So anyways, without further ado, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to smash the thumbs up button. It helps me out a ton. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And remember to turn on post notifications so you know when a new video goes live. And as always, let your life be infinite. I'll talk to you guys later.